What is up, Flyover family? And today I have some breaking news. I have some news about the Eagles tampering thing. The results have just been released. A.J. Brown, he's looking absolutely amazing. No Diddy. The Philly media, they made the news. Saquon and we finally got to look at him in pads and things of that nature. Without further ado, we have that and more. So let's fly on into it. So yeah, first and foremost, the first thing I want to get into is the Eagles didn't tamper with Saquon. I'll go ahead and put the details up there, things of that nature. It could be reopened or however, but good luck. I mean, I don't think there's really anything to it. There's really no way to prove that or however. It's all he say, she say. So if that wasn't enough before, unless something like big blockbuster, you know what I'm saying, which I doubt. But yeah, the Atlanta Falcons, they are guilty, and the GM was fined $50,000, and the entire organization was fined $250,000. So as well, I'm not sure exactly or however, I might say up there, however, but they may have taken away some draft picks as well. But overall, next thing I'd like to talk about is AJ is in full revenge season mode. He was talking about how, first and foremost, he wanted to get a Super Bowl ring. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to get revenge, things of that nature, and ultimately get a ring or however, become a champion. But he said, in his mind, the guy, that reported it or however, I'm pretty sure it was his agent or something. He said that in his mind, he's a failure, that he's never satisfied. He wants to be a champion. That's why he came to Philly. And compared to Justin Jefferson, he took a team-friendly deal. Obviously, he knew what he was worth. He has the tools to become a number one wide receiver, things of that nature. And as you can tell, he's absolutely freaking jacked. You know what I'm saying? No Diddy, so absolutely excited for that. Hopefully, 2,000 yards plus. Something absolutely ridiculous. So next up, he said that obviously he wanted back-to-back 1,500 yard season. He wanted to be first team AP. Obviously, I know he's not a stat chaser, however, he sounds like he really wants to win and all that, or however, and, he's in shape, so if it was just for the money, he wouldn't, I don't think he would have, been in such good a shape as he's in, again, as you can see up there, so, again, I think that's really encouraging, so, Eagles fans, definitely be excited for that, definitely for sure. Next up, Philly media still crying, or however, saying, does Jalen hate him, or however, yada, 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 and then they're saying that some of the Eagles organization, which is probably slander and absolute bullcrap, but I can't say 100% for sure. So at this point, hypothetically, I think it's just bullcrap. But they're saying but does he hate him? Oh, is their relationship done? Yada yada yada. Relationship needs to be nurtured and all that. And it keeps going. I'm just like, man, quit dragging it out, So it's, again, I think it's absolutely bullcrap. As an Eagles fan, I'd say just ignore it. Again, and trying to be unbiased about it again. Philly media, they'll do anything just for clicks. Even destroy the team that's employing them. It's absolutely crazy. Next up the next thing is also about next year. Sports Illustrated is talking about that they're asking, or however, because they made a little post. I'll put it up there. Are the Eagles setting Nick Sirianni up to fail? Short answer: hell no. Okay, I'll give you 3 reasons. The draft. The biggest problem, above all else, was the defense. It was embarrassing to watch. It was hard to watch. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say all that good stuff because it wasn't good. It was horrible. You know what I'm saying? 28th, you know what I'm saying? 350 yards a game. It's Vietnam flashbacks. It's freaking aggravating even just remembering all that. But anyways, back to now. First of all, the biggest reason is the draft. 2 of the top 3 corners in the draft, Cooper DeJean, who was the 3rd, and Quinyon Mitchell, who was the 1st best corner in the draft. The 1st and the 3rd best corner in the draft. A top 15, bare minimum, linebacker who just won a new contract. He's learned his lesson, you know what I'm saying? Until I've seen otherwise, I'll say he learned his lesson. Again, with Isaiah Rodgers, before he went out, he was top 5, top 10 in the league. I'll say he dropped 5 to 7 spots, still top 20. When there's out of 64 people, 65, 66. You know what I'm saying? Depending on exactly, what their scheme is or however. But come on now. C.J. Gardner-Johnson brought him back for his mentality, things of that nature, and then obviously Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, they got some help. They're both in dang good shape, things of that nature. So I mean, again, I mean, defensively, I mean, he's doing everything he can. I mean, and obviously the offensive line, he locked them up in free agency as well. So I mean, top 5 O-line. Obviously, you got a top 10 running back. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say, oh, we don't have a good running back, so we can't run the ball. It's not our identity. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, again, it all bodes well for the Eagles for that fact. So, and I guess there's even a fourth reason. You know what I'm saying? Aside from Kellen Moore, aside from that, because I mean, everyone's saying he's struggling in OTAs or however the case may be, or however. If he has more than 5 plays, he's automatically better than Brian Johnson. If he has more than 5 plays, even if it's 6 or 7 plays, I mean, maybe that buys us another week or two. Maybe it buys us a ring or however. You know what I'm saying? We just throw in the other 2 when we really need them or however, and then we sprinkle them in or however's needed. I don't know. But defensively, Vic Fangio, I mean, for the past 20, 30, however many years or however, he's been pretty consistently in the top 10 in terms of defensive ranking, stops, run defense, pass yard defense, or however, his scheme may be not aggressive or pretty or however the case may be, but at the end of the day, I mean, it does work, and he's been in the top 10 the majority of the time as well. He has links with the coordinators, as I covered in previous videos. Clint Hunt, or Clint Hurt, or however the case may be, and then the other guy, or however, the younger guy, Michael Clint, or whatever his name was, the DB coach, and then the D-line coach. Those two, I believe the secondary coach was in Denver, and then the D-line coach was in Chicago. So and both of those defenses were top 10. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I honestly think he's really trying to keep his job, and he really wants to be here. He really wants to retire here. So he knows he at least has to bring a top 7, top 8 defense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I believe he can deliver that. In terms of Kellen Moore, I mean, I don't know. And then there is a question mark with Jalen Hurts. I mean, I like Jalen Hurts. I support him. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, overall, I mean, I'm not gonna, overhype the guy or however just because he's an Eagle and just because I support him. However, I support him. I'm not gonna straight up slander him and say he's trash. He's not, as of right now. In my personal opinion, humbleness aside, I have him at the 8th best cornerback, at the 8th best quarterback. In my personal opinion, he's number 8 right now. In my personal opinion. So I mean, that being said, I mean, there's question marks with that, or however. That's just based on what I've seen. And then next thing I'd like to talk about is sorry to ramble and whatnot, but overall, like I said, they're not setting up to fail. But yeah, we are linked with the Eagles are linked with signing or trading for Quandre Diggs. Apparently, he still has some juice in the tank. I seen, some of his highlights, things of that nature. I wouldn't mind having him as a backup safety in case of you never know situations. I trust him over Bradbury and Avonte Maddox. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would prefer him over them. No Diddy, or however any time of the week. No Diddy. Pause. But yeah. Like I said, Saquon's in Eagles gear is just really cool to see. This gets me hyped for the season. I'm just like, man, I can't wait till preseason. Even if they just play 5 or 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just so excited. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Kenny Pickett, he's going to be playing quite a bit ever since he's the QB2, and we didn't really draft any quarterbacks, so I mean, I don't think they're going to play the rookie. So, next up, the last thing I'd like to talk about is C.J. Gardner-Johnson said that he said that Cooper DeJean, as of right now, is the best hooper in the secondary, in the defensive back room, or however, due to the fact that he just has more highlights and he really didn't argue about it. The final thing I want to talk about today is my super early predictions, or however. First off, I'm going to go offensively. I believe our offense will be the best in the league, or however. I mean, in terms of superstars, or however, in terms of star power and talent, I mean, I believe, we are the most talented offense in the league. I mean, and not by much, or however, because, I mean, Chris McCaffrey, he is a bit better than Saquon, but, I mean, I believe Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown as a duo are better than Ayuk and Debo. And then, obviously, Kittle, he's better than Goddard. I'm not even going to make the case, as much as I want to say it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, on certain days, you can make the case, but consistently throughout the entirety of the career, as much as it pains me to say it, I mean, it is true by far, however, in terms of the entirety of the career, but, Kittle is better. And in terms of quarterback, I believe since Jalen has, you know what I'm saying, more leg ability, no Diddy, he can move around a little bit better than brotherly shove. I got to give it to Jalen Hurts. And then in terms of backups or however, I mean Will Shipley. I mean he's going to be looking pretty nice, I think. So again, I think we'll have the best offense in the league. Just starting off with the basics. Now into the little bit more complicated. I think Jalen Hurts will throw for 35 plus touchdowns. 35 bare minimum. And I'll tell you why. After all the crap, he's just got his money and he's done, and all this, and oh, Jalen's this, Jalen's that, turnover machine, yada, 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 and all this crap. And I'll even be humble. I'll be humble. I'll say 32. I'll say he'll finish with 32 or more touchdowns. That's my prediction. Again, Saquon Barkley, you know what I'm saying? He can catch. He can do it all. He'll have 5 minimum. He'll have 5 or 6 receiving touchdowns, but I'll say 5. And then I believe A.J. Brown's he's going to have like a Hall of Fame year. I think he's going to have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 1,800, 2,000 yards probably. But to finish off, in terms of that individual prediction, I think he'll finish with like 1,800 yards. I think that's fair. He'll have like 1,800 yards. Saquon will have about 2,000 yards, all-purpose yards. You know what I'm saying? Receiving maybe 2, 3, 400 receiving. And then 14, 15, 1,600 rushing yards. Top 5 O-line. He's not going to have to work through it or however. But to be humble, I'll say 1,600. 1,600. I'll say he'll finish with 1,600 total all-purpose yards. I'll say 200 or 300 receiving yards or however the case. And then and I'll say the rest rushing yards or however, like, 11, 1,200 receiving. And then like 300 or 400 or however. So yeah, something around there, however. But yeah, and then Devontae Smith, I think he'll have around 1,200, something like that, 1,100. You know what I'm saying? And then in terms of touchdowns, I think he'll have about I'll say like 8 or 9 touchdowns or however. Since he'll have Saquon to take up the pressure off of him, things of that nature. And then same thing with AJ. And just in terms of receiving raw touchdowns, I think he'll have about 10 or 11. I think he'll have something freaking historical. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that's primed up and all that good stuff. And then in terms of Jalen's touchdowns or however, obviously receiving 0. Rushing yards, I think he'll probably have about 300, 400, 500, 600, maybe something around there. 500. He'll have 500. 300. Including Saquon and all that. Will Shipley, got to get them involved or however. I don't think he's going to try to run it as much. I think he's going to focus on improving his throwing ability. But overall, yeah. Final answer, 300 rushing yards for the season. Because, obviously you won't need to run it as much or however the case may be, including brotherly shoves, which is only 1 yard at a time. Yeah. Now on to defense. Defensively, I think we're going to rank 7th in the league. Because that's been Fangio's lucky number. The couple years in Chicago when he had Clint Hurt, or however his name is, the defensive backs coach, he was number 7 then. And then whenever he was with the defensive backs coach / like defensive passing game guy, or however, basically the cornerback coach or however, in secondary, they were also number 7. You know what I'm saying, for multiple years or however. So I guess that's his lucky ranking. I'm not exactly sure. But overall, yeah, I think he'll be 7th on defense. I think in terms of picks ranking, how many interceptions we'll get, Cooper DeJean, Devin White, they've been all getting picks, pass breakups, Isaiah Rodgers, you know what I'm saying, can't forget about him. And then Kelee Ringo, he's been doing his thing as well. So, I think, to be exact, I think we'll get 13 interceptions. In the course of 17 games, just the regular season, obviously. 17 pick. Not 17. Wait, what was it? 15. I'm sorry. If that wasn't the number, I'm sorry. I have ADHD. I'd be forgetting crap. I fidget. You know what I'm saying? I have ADHD. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think we'll have 15 total picks, and then maybe like 4 pick sixes. 4 of them would be pick sixes. I'll say. But essentially, I think we'll have 15 interceptions total in 17 games. Heck of drives, you know what I'm saying? Each quarter's 15 minutes, 4 15-minute quarter. That's an hour of play time or however the case may be. And obviously not defense or however to be exact, but you know what I'm trying to say or however, you know, I mean, at any point it can turn from offense to defense. They pick or however, and then, you know, there you go. You know, you can get multiple picks in one game or however the case may be. You know, there's crazy games or however, but yeah. Next up, the guy who I think will be leading the team in picks will be one of two people, and there's a deep secondary, so there's lots of room to be wrong. In my opinion, it'll either be Cooper DeJean or C.J. Gardner-Johnson. In my opinion, one of those two guys will lead the team in picks. In my personal opinion, based on what I've seen, their attitude, their mentality, their actual skills, what they can do, can't do, etc., I think it'll be one of those two guys right there. In terms of sacks, either Bryce Huff or Josh Sweat. I mean, obviously, that has to be obvious at this particular point. So yeah, overall, I think the overall team just in the regular season will go 14-3. We might lose to the Baltimore Ravens. And I'll be humble about the two other teams. I mean, we might lose like one or two in the beginning or however, and then we might lose to the Ravens. But other than that, I mean, as much firepower as we have, if we can coast to 11 wins, crappy coach only knows 5 plays. I guarantee you Kellen knows more than 5 plays. So we're automatically in the upgrade. You know, we can figure it out the same way again. You know what I'm saying? Obviously looking a little more differently, having more talent to rely on. Saquon freaking Barkley, that smooth as a transition over. I'm sorry. Why is nobody talking about that? What if they struggle in the beginning? We have Saquon. He was on a useless team, a poverty franchise. And if that's not convincing, the health is an issue. Okay, fine. The contributions or lack thereof on a worthless, crappy franchise team with absolute bums for wide receivers, and a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it got overpaid and all that. Okay, fine. But check this out. 2 of the top 2 corners in the draft. 2 pretty good freaking wide receivers, Johnny Wilson and Ainias Smith in the draft. Pretty good. I'm not going to say they're Randy Moss or that guy or that guy. I'm not going to overhype them. But they have potential and they have the tools to be respectable, contributing people. Obviously, we have the 1 and 2. But in terms of 3 and 4, we have more than enough to make sure the competition is good enough to where we get the best of the best, not just have to settle or whatever the case may be. Or heck, bring Julio back. I don't think he was horrible. Obviously, the coaching was freaking horrible, but bring him back. He still had 3 or 4 touchdowns. I know we had one game, and then he had like 2 another game, and then maybe had 1 more after that, but at least 3. You know what I'm saying? He can mentor the young guys, teach Ainias Smith, you know what I'm saying? What it means to be great, how to avoid, getting injured, you know what I'm saying? Because he stayed healthy for us pretty good. I think he only missed like 1 or 2, 3 games, something like that at 17 for a 34-year-old. It's not the NBA, you know what I'm saying? Can't expect him to play, 80 million games without getting injured. You get tackled and all that stuff, especially wide receivers and running backs. I know this is all common sense, but I'm just saying. All that makes a difference. And obviously, you know what I'm saying, we have more competition on the O-line. Mekhi Becton, Max Sharping, obviously Lane Johnson, I don't think he's up for competition or however, but he's just a guy we have on the O-line or however. Our O-line is deep, our cornerback room is deep. No Diddy, nothing like that or however. We have a pretty good quarterback room. Jalen Hurts and Kenny Pickett. It's not a bad total squad. I believe with everything we have now, I believe we can win a Super Bowl. We have the talent. It's only if the coaches and Jalen Hurts delivers, which I believe he can. But as of right now, they got to put him in a good spot. We need more than just the same 5 old plays. You know what I'm saying? And if it's 1 freaking yard, I don't care if they see it coming. Run the brotherly shove. If they're 1 yard out, do the brotherly shove. Don't freaking weak ass freaking. I don't want to see any freaking screen passes. I want to see a whole bunch of pre-motion. I want to see freaking quick little tight end passes. You know what I'm saying? And then once they're guarding you up close, you know what I'm saying, with the secondaries, then allow Devontae Smith and AJ Brown to get their money's worth. You know what I'm saying? So, again, AJ Brown, he has all the tools. You know what I'm saying? I think he's gonna have a historical season. Jalen Hurts, he's possible to win the MVP. My prediction is he'll definitely be in top 2 in the MVP voting. He'll arguably be the best quarterback in the league next year. I think he's coming for a vengeance. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you Excuse me, I apologize. But I appreciate all you guys' support, all you guys' feedback, things of that nature. I'm working on going live. I'm just trying to find somebody to go live with, or however the case may be, so then it's not just me. I have someone to talk to, and you know what I'm saying, or however, no dating, nothing like that, however be. I thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. God bless. Philly out.